All right, here's just a few final Photoshop settings that I want to let you in on that I'm going to wind up using myself anyway. First of all, underneath the View menu, we have snapping. So View and then down to Snap. Do you know what snapping is? It's going to help us as we start laying out our grid works, our wireframes, things like this. So it's definitely going to come in handy. And we have this Snap to submenu, so we can decide what we want to have snapping and what we don't want to have snapping. So, for instance, I'm going to go ahead and turn on Snap, so View and then Snap, and then I'm going to head back to the View menu and then back down to Snap to. And what I could do is I could say, all right, I don't want to snap to layers. I don't want to snap to the boundaries of the actual canvas or the actual workable area, things like that, right? So you can kind of mix it up. You can kind of decide exactly how you want to set up your snapping. I like everything turned on, but snapping's a weird thing for me. Sometimes I love it, sometimes I hate it. It drives me crazy sometimes. So I like to start with it on, and then if I need to turn it off, I can of course head back to the View menu to shut it off. Okay, a few other things for you. Just some quick keyboard shortcuts. If I want to toggle the display of guides inside my layout, and we're going to talk about guides in just a little bit, but just for now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to head, I'm going to head all the way to the horizontal ruler across the top of the file, and I'm just going to click and drag down a few times here. Now, this isn't the greatest example, but now we have these light blue guides, these light blue lines happening inside our snowman file, which isn't a layout file, but bear with me. And, I could do the same thing vertically if I wanted to, pulling a few guides out vertically, something like this, right? Now, what I can do is I can temporarily disable the guides if I want to by hitting Control or Command semicolon on my keyboard, just like that. And it's just a light switch on off, just like that. Okay? So this is one that I want to bounce off you because we're going to use it quite a bit, I think, going forward. And the other keyboard shortcut that I wanted to bounce off you is, if you are so inclined, you can use, of course, Photoshop's layout grid. And you can display the grid by holding down, once again, Control or Command, and hitting your quote key just to the right of your colon and semicolon key on your keyboard. And again, that's just a light switch on and off. Okay? Just a neat visual toggle. Okay? That's it. All right. Last but not least, I want to show you this. You know Photoshop's animated zoom? If I hold down Control and Spacebar or Command and Spacebar and then click and drag with my mouse, I'm going to get this sort of zoomy animated effect happening here. I can zoom in and out. This is actually called Scrubby Zoom. I think that's the actual name of it. Not animated zoom. But anyway, it is sort of an animated effect there. And, as you're working along, you might find this a little bit annoying to work with. Sometimes it gets away on you. Sometimes you're having trouble with it. So, you know what? I got to be honest. I shut mine off. And the reason why I shut mine off is there's no such thing as Scrubby Zoom in Illustrator. Not yet anyway, and I'm a big Illustrator user. So for me, it's difficult for my brain to switch over to how Illustrator likes to zoom versus how Photoshop likes to zoom. You know what I mean? It's just hard to switch gears in my brain. So I just like everything working the same way. So here's how to turn it off if you're interested. I'm going to go and grab the zoom tool out of the bottom of the toolbox, the actual tool, and then across the options bar, there it is right there, Scrubby Zoom. Turn it off. Just shut it off. And now you're back to a more traditional Photoshop zooming behavior. So now if I hold down Control and Spacebar or Command and Spacebar and click and drag, I'm going to get marching ants, right? And I could zoom in on a particular area inside my layout or inside my file if I were so inclined, okay? So I prefer this much better myself, again, for reasons previously mentioned. But there you go. You're welcome to leave it on if you want, but I'm going to keep mine turned off.